you can draw this butterfly. If you follow this video all the way to the end, then you will be able to draw this butterfly as well in Procreate using the brushes that are already in the app. I will show you every step of the way. And I'm sure that if you follow this tutorial and my other video tutorials, that you will improve your drawing and painting techniques in Procreate. You will be learning by doing. We will be using the symmetry tool, for instance, and layer masks. By using these tools in this tutorial, you will learn how to use them in your own artworks as well. Hey, and don't forget, once you have finished this drawing tutorial, then share your work on Instagram and tag me in the image. Then you might see your artwork in my next You Can Draw This video. Let's not delay, let's get started. First of all, our canvas. It's 3000 by 2000 pixels. And if you want to use the exact same colors I'm using in this video, then you can download my color palette for free through a link in the description. To get started drawing this butterfly, we will turn on the symmetry tool first. To turn that on, you have to go to the wrench in the menu, then to Canvas, turn on Drawing Guide, and then go to Edit Drawing Guide. And here you can select Symmetry. Then click Done. And now whatever we paint on the left side will show up on the right side as well. First thing we'll do is draw the body of the butterfly. And we'll do that by using the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. Now, if you click this brush, then you can go to the settings and you can adjust streamline right here. Now, if you tend to make wobbly lines, then you can just turn up the streamline to max and you will get more smooth lines. We will set our color to this first almost black color. And let's get started drawing that body. Let's set the brush size to 25%. Opacity is set to max. And let's start drawing here. And make that top part of the body. And then that lower part, which is a bit longer, like that. And we'll make a little head on top. Now we can fill these shapes that we just made by dragging this color circle into our shape. And make sure that you have a closed shape, otherwise the color will leak out. Now that we have created this body, let's move to the wings. We will make a new layer for that, so go to the layer palette, click plus to make a new layer, and we will drag this one underneath the body. And let's turn on symmetry for this layer as well. You can do that by clicking the layer and then select Drawing Assist. Now symmetry is turned on for this layer as well. And let's pick this light color. Let's start here at the upper body, about here. Make a smooth line downward and back up to that lower body. And make sure that you close the shape. And then drag in the color to fill it. If you're not entirely happy with the shape of these wings, you can very easily fix that by going to the magic wand and using Liquify. Now we can push and pull on these wings, adjusting the shape a little bit. And you can adjust the size of your brush. And you can just push and pull, making it bigger or smaller until you have a shape that you are happy with. And since we have symmetry tool on, whatever we adjust on the right side will get adjusted on the left side as well. I like the way this looks. Next, let's draw the top wings. We'll make a new layer for that as well above our layer 2. So click the plus and don't forget to turn on Drawing Assist so that symmetry is active here as well. And let's pick this orange right here. Again, we'll start at the upper body a bit higher now and make a smooth line to the side, then down and back to the upper body and close the shape. And we can fill it by dragging in the color. And again, you can just go to the magic wand, use liquify, and push and pull. I'll go to 90%. Push and pull those wings until you have a shape that you're happy with. For our next step, we are going to add some texture to the wings. Let's go to the lower wings first. And let's turn on alpha lock. Once you have turned on alpha lock, you can only paint on the pixels that are already there. So you can only paint on those wings and nothing will show up in the transparent parts. To add texture, we will go to the spray paints and use the fat nozzle. And let's pick this lighter orange. I have the brush set to, I can hardly see it, 25%, and the opacity is set to 50%. And let's just go over the wings, adding some texture and some color variation. So we'll add some lighter parts here. And let's also add some of this brighter orange at the top. And perhaps a bit of this orange as well. Just at the top part. Now we have a nice color variation. Let's do the same thing for the top wings. So again, click this layer and select alpha lock. So we can only paint on the wings. We'll still be using the fat nozzle. And let's grab this. Well, let's grab this orange first that we just used. And let's go over these wings, adding some texture. And let's also move to that very bright orange. Let's go over this top part. That looks nice. Let's also add some texture to the body of the butterfly. And you can do that by using alpha lock again, but another way to add texture is by using a clipping mask. You can make a new layer on top of that body, click that new layer and select clipping mask. Now whatever we paint on layer 4 will only show up in the places where there are pixels on layer 1. So that's that body. And let's grab the medium nozzle brush. I have the opacity set to 80% and the brush size is at 30%. And we will grab this brown color. And let's go over that lower body and a little bit over that top part of the body. And let's also use some of that bright orange. Just a little bit. And now I'll grab this dark brown and make the brush a bit smaller. Let's go for 2% and make some lines on this lower body. Make sure they are a bit curved, following that shape of that body of the butterfly. If you make these lines a bit curved, you will give that body some volume. If you would just make straight lines, then that body would look really flat. All the way to the top. And I will add some interest to that top part of the body. And for that, we will turn on symmetry on this clip layer. So just click the layer and select drawing assist. And then we'll pick this light grayish blue color. And we still have the brush set to 2%. And let's add some light dots. Pattern of light blotches on the body of the butterfly. And a little line in the center. And one next to it. And just some random blotches of light. And let's also give this butterfly 2 antennae. We can do that on a layer below its head. So first click layer 3 with the wings, then click the plus to make a new layer. And we don't have to turn on drawing assist for this one, because if we make 2 antennae that are slightly different, then we will break up that symmetry. For our brush, we will go to the drawing brushes and use gloaming. I'll set the color to that very dark, near black. And let's make the brush very small. Let's go to 4% and draw these antennae. Just make a thin line and add a little thickness to that end. And one on the other side. Of course, the wings still look a bit boring, being just orange. Let's add a nice pattern to the wings. We'll add that pattern on a new layer above the wings. We'll start with the lower wings. So go to that layer with the lower wings and then click plus for a new layer. And we will use clipping mask again. So whatever we paint will only show up on those lower wings. And we will go back to the spray paints and use the medium nozzle. And we already have the correct color. We want to use that black to paint this pattern. For our brush size, we will go to 14%. And the opacity is still at 80%. And now let's first go back to our layers, because of course we need to turn on drawing assist to turn on symmetry. All right, let's make a dark line around that underside of the wings. Like that. And I will make the brush a bit smaller. Let's go to 7% to draw in a pattern. We'll start at that body. Make a curved line down. We'll branch off right here. Making these lines downward. And let's make our brush even smaller now. Let's go for 3%. And go over the line again, making it a bit more crisp. And of course, you can look at reference photos of butterflies to get inspiration for your pattern. Let's make a line here as well. We'll connect a thin line from this line to here. And we'll make another line towards that bottom part. And let's make a line right next to the body here. Don't forget that if this video is going too fast for you, then you can always hit pause or use rewind and do things at your own pace. And I'd like to go and make the brush a bit bigger again. I'll go to 10% and add a bit more here. And now let's move to the flicks brush to add even more texture here. I'll set it to 4% and the opacity is at 100%. I'll just go past the edges here, adding some little dots. I'll make the brush even smaller. I'll go to 2% and go past these lines here, adding some slight dotted texture. Not too much. And let's do the same thing for the top wings. So we'll go to the top wings, make a new layer above this one by clicking the plus, and then use clipping mask. And don't forget to turn on drawing assist. So we have turned on symmetry. We'll go back to the medium nozzle again. We will set the brush to 15% and make a pattern here as well. Go to that outside of the wing, cover that with this dark color. And we'll make it smaller for those finer lines. Go to 5%. Start here at the body and move towards that outside. Hey, and if you are really passionate about improving your skills in Procreate, and if you want to learn how to paint digitally on your iPad Pro, then I think my Patreon page is the place to go for you. I share a lot of fully narrated tutorials there, and I am always there to help you, to answer your questions. And the videos range from beginner level to more advanced levels. And I talk a lot about painting techniques, from basics to more advanced techniques. So if you want to learn more and watch more, then yeah, take a look. It would be great to welcome you there. Let's make the brush a bit smaller now. Let's go to 3% for these little finer lines. Thin line here. And again, let's also use that flicks brush. So we can add some dotted texture along that lines. Along that edge here. All right, we're almost there, but not quite. We want to add even more interest to this pattern. And we'll do that by using a layer mask. We'll go to this pattern that we painted on the lower wings, click this layer and then select mask. Now when we paint with black on this mask, it'll mask parts of this pattern layer. We'll do that with the gloaming brush, which you can find under drawing. And let's make it a bit bigger. Let's go for 15% and we will make a pattern of dots along the wing. Let's start here. And let's make these little lines along the wing with gaps in between. Some dots on top of these. And these don't have to be perfect circles. They can be a bit wobbly. Butterfly won't have perfect circles on its wings. And now we'll do the same thing for the top wing. So we'll go to that layer with the pattern on it, click it, and then go to mask. And now we can paint on this layer mask with black, adding a nice pattern here as well. Again, we'll make these lines on the outside with little gaps between them. And we'll make some dots on top of these. We'll also make some bigger shapes here on the top. Just some splotches. And if you use light pressure on your Apple Pencil, then the brush stroke will be less opaque. So you can vary that up a little bit. If there are parts that you want to paint back, if you want that black back, then you can just switch to white on your layer mask. You can double tap here near that white part to get perfect white. And then you could, well, let's make the brush smaller, 3%. You can paint over it and get parts back in case you want to refine the pattern. So using a layer mask really gives a lot of control. For the final part, we'll go back to the wings layers. First, let's go to the bottom wings right here, and we'll grab this very light color. And let's make the brush a bit bigger, 22%. And let's add some light in this pattern to make that pattern pop a bit more. Like that, and we'll do the same on the top wing. So go to layer 3 with the top wings on it and add some of that near white color. And there you have your butterfly. I hope you enjoyed following this tutorial. If you did, then you might like my other video tutorials as well. Perhaps you'll like these two on the left. I will see you next time.